Welcome back to another episode of Scryer's Room. I am your host, Famfare.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mario.
And we're going to hit it back with some more Elder Scrolls game lore with Mario.
We have one left, right?
Yep, this is the last one on my list. It's the Elder Scrolls Online. So hopefully I can get through this relatively quickly, and then I'll do just a little, not much of a deep dive, but just some of my favorite tidbits of lore I want to hit you guys with.
He's taunted us with a little bit of information about a couple of these, so I'm very excited to hear about them.
It's weird. And I'm hoping I get a good reaction at it. Well, with one thing in particular.
Yeah.
But before that, so Elder Scrolls Online was released in April of 2014. And this is the first MMO style Elder Scrolls they ever did.
Yeah, this was...
were any of them ever multiplayer, or was there a Skyrim
Battlespire had a multiplayer mode.
Battlespire had
but it was like just fight each other. That was it.
Okay, well, man.
And this one is,
This came out at the time that they were still describing every new MMO as a WoW killer.
Yeah.
God, I remember that. I remembered... Oh, God.
And this one was super hyped up because it's like, it's only one mega server. Everyone's going to be on the same server all the time.
I'm sure that has no consequence.
It did introduce the trend of moving towards mega servers, because technically WoW even has mega servers now.
Yeah.
In the sense that all the servers are linked and accessible. But ESO was
they
the
have
first
like different
one to
layers
go live
and stuff.
with it.
But, you know.
Yeah, there are different layers and stuff.
It was one of their like big, sales pitches for the game.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
The same sandbox.
Yeah, and
A finite amount of space with a potentially much larger group of people enjoying it.
So the Bethesda Game Studios, poor bastards who work there. Actually, they subcontracted some other company, the name of which I don't know. But they have to make a DLC like every year for this game.
Oh.
So there's a lot of DLCs because it's just like...
It's been going on for like 11 years.
Yeah. They just crack the whip and just like, make another. Like, we have to sell them something.
You armor another horse or your head will be on a platter.
Yeah, which is fucking absurd to me. So, I don't know. I hear it's pretty good. Does it play like Skyrim? Like, you left hand, right hand? How does it even go? Is it closer to Oblivion?
I don't really know.
Who can say?
Yeah,
no one played it.
It's kind of its own thing.
Nick played it for a while, but the only time I saw him playing it, he was like doing crafting, so I didn't get a good idea how the combat worked. But he did tell me at the game's inception, part of like one of the big things is like, oh, there's this ongoing 3-sided PvP war, and one person gets to be the Emperor. So, like, the biggest dick PvP man is just the Emperor. He did it. He won.
That's an irresponsible system.
And okay. I guess at the time I was paying attention, Nick had told me that, like, the best build was, like, cloth with, like, magic. And, like, everything else was basically, like, ass tier compared to just being, like, in ropes with magic. And I guess that's what the Emperor was. He was like, it kind of knocked the wind out of my sails because I wanted to be like a heavy, like,
right.
Or like a Legolas type, or like a knight type. And yeah, it's just being like, I
am a wizard, ha 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 ha, as you're blasting lightning at everybody.
Because you're so quick and like,
unstoppable, flying around
you can't hit.
Which those three factions are the Eldmeri Dominion, the Daggerfall Covenant, and the Ebonheart Pact.
Ebonheart Pact for the win. That's the one I picked.
And yeah, you pick one of those, and it like you basically do the same shit, but it's slightly adjusted based on what faction you picked. Typical stuff.
Yeah, you need blue flowers for the blue faction, yellow flowers for the yellow faction. Yeah,
and yeah, this is the first in the timeline and takes place over multiple provinces. And the initial, like the main plot of the game
is... Wait, it's the first in the timeline?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is the inception, like the earliest point that we get to see in Tamriel. Yep. Is that the name of the place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tamriel.
That's actually cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And it, on the surface, it's extremely similar to Oblivion's plotline. It just plays out a little bit different. So...
I mean... Having hell portals open up sounds like it would kind of go hard in an MMO.
Yeah, so, that sounds pretty sick.
Yeah.
Hold that thought.
Oh, man.
Not hell portals. A little bit different. A little bit more direct. The plotline is Emperor's dead. Oh no.
Oh no, what happened
Dragonfire's gone out.
Oh no.
This is technically the first time this has happened.
So they have no idea what to do. So they set up a PvP event, causing the worst dude in the world to beat Emperor.
So there's no heir. Oh no, what do we do? Then, if you a name that's come up before, Mannimacro, who's the king of worms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Most powerful necromancer ever. It's like, hey man, I have a solution. We'll turn you into a dragonborn, and then you can light the dragon fires, guy. Who the guy he tricked? Spoiler.
What? The king of worms?
Yeah.
A liar?
Who would have thought?
Named after famous lying man Wormtongue? A liar?
Yeah, shit. What's his name?
Trictesius, you must be the Dragonborn.
Betrayedicus, no.
Okay, yeah. Varen Aquilaris.
Aguilaris.
Yeah, him and his they form this group, the Five Companions, and Mannimacro tricks them. Wow, you trusted the necromancer.
Yeah.
How could this have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely foreseeable events.
Yeah, it turns out, he just wanted to get the Amulet of Kings. You're an idiot. Neener. And yeah, he's working with Molag Bal, who you might remember is the Daedric Prince of Domination.
Yeah.
King of non-consensual sex.
Oh yeah, this is the real
one
bad
of his
one.
titles.
Yeah,
He's the
guy.
Satan.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, he's not cool.
All the other like evil Daedric princes, I can imagine very easily as like having at least some people who are like, no, like you're misunderstanding in this way. Like, no, this is he doesn't have that.
Mm-mm.
Like the only people who are on his side are like, I like how evil he is. That's my favorite part.
Pretty much.
Like in kiss makeup and shit.
Like, yeah, it's like, why would you ever worship Satan? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
Like, and then...
We're just hardcore like that, man.
Yeah, and if it backfires, like, what do you mean you didn't see this coming?
Yeah.
Like, it's Satan. Like,
it couldn't happen to me.
Yeah.
You called him the king of lies. You can't be surprised by his lying.
Yeah, so, he tricks your ass, ostensibly for Molag Bal.
Right.
He gets the Amulet of Kings, Mannimacro does, and then now Molag Bal is literally shooting giant magical, like, harpoons into Tamriel, like the mortal realm, to merge it with his realm, Cold Harbor.
He's dragging that shit, like throwing harpoons and dragging it like through the threshold.
He wants to fuse the Mundus with his realm of hell.
Oh man.
Which Cold Harbor
Pretty good
is
move.
said to be a reflection of Tamriel, but like a shitty one.
My favorite part of that is that at no point did you describe a benefit for him besides just fucking up more shit.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
That's his whole deal. Is I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue
man.
being the worst.
Yeah, that's a good bad guy right there. Yeah.
He knows
so
to play the hits.
The Five Companions, who are Lyris Titanborn, Abner Tharn, you might remember the name of Yeager Tharn. So this is this guy's ancestor.
I imagine looks and sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, this is before they turn into Jafars and are just evil, I guess. Then there's...
That's from my mom's side of the family.
The Swordmaster Sai Sahan, and then the air quotes Emperor of Varen Aquilaris, and then Mannimacro, who's the traitor.
Yeah.
So Mannimacro tricks their asses, and then most of them get trapped in Cold Harbor, basically. And then that's also where you are, maybe. I'm a little confused on this, because apparently during, like, updates have changed the starting of the game.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, yeah, I'm not too clear on that, but apparently at one point you start in Cold Harbor, and that's, the character of this game is the Vestige. Mannimacro, being a dick necromancer, killed you and slurped your soul out. And so now you're just kind of like a soulless guy. And you gotta escape out from hell, So that's how you start. Is you're in Cold Harbor, which is awful. Obviously, it's the realm of Molag Bal,
Right.
and you basically bust your way out of there. Like,
Hitch a ride on a harpoon.
yeah, and this guy, the Prophet, is helping you. He pretty much shows you how to get out, and then opens portals for you to get back to Nirn, the planet.
Yeah.
Tamriel. And it pretty much gives you the rundown of like, Molag Bal is sending his dark anchors. That's what they're literal just giant ass magical chains that he just shoots it into the material realm.
The simplicity.
Yeah, and he's gonna rip it into his.
Hell yeah.
None of this. Oh, I need to activate the 6 sigils at the point of the. No.
Fire the harpoon!
Yeah.
Pull!
Very, very subtle Molag Bal is. And so, you go back to reality, and this guy, the Prophet, who's your mysterious Yoda figure, is explaining everything, and you say, "Oh, you gotta reassemble the companions, the 5 companions." And so you just keep sending you back into hell.
Oh man,
that's like,
You're cool with that, right?
yeah. So you keep sending you into Cold Harbor, where the Satan is. And is like, okay, you got to go back there to get someone, and we're gonna, we got to regroup.
Yeah.
So you got to go save that woman, Lyris Titanborn.
I'm not gonna lie, this sounds a lot like an isekai style stories
Kinda,
plotline,
yeah.
where you have to gather the heroes party and
man.
shit.
Oh man.
Pretty much, that's kind of how things play out. So you go get her, and then every person, pretty much, of the companions, you have to like help them through something, like their trauma or whatever. And so I wrote it as you help her through her bullshit, kill Daedra, and then bring her back, and that's
awesome.
pretty much exactly what
I imagine that's
happens.
the gameplay loop for most of this.
And then you got to get some MacGuffins, which I just wrote it as next we have to fetch a Lochnar.
It's my Lochnar.
Which,
the
if you don't know what a Lochnar is, go watch Heavy Metal, the movie. It's pretty great.
Yeah, you need to watch the movie.
And then you give it to the Prophet. Then Abner Tharn has betrayed you, maybe? He seems to be working with Mannimacro, except not really. He was actually doing it to save lives, because... yeah, like I can save more people from the other side of the fence than, like if I just folded and went with you guys.
He doesn't realize that there have been a great many horrors that have been committed by men who are just telling themselves, well, I can make it softer.
Yeah, and then
God
that
bless.
explanation doesn't really like go over well with everyone else. They're just like, but you
You could have
still
killed no one!
you still like betrayed us, dickhead.
Yeah.
He's like, you just don't get it, all right?
Yeah. I'm dark and complicated like that.
And yeah, so you rescue, air quotes, him, because he offers you pretty much an ultimatum of like, give me asylum so that Mannimacro doesn't kill me and take my soul.
Right.
Because otherwise he's going to do that.
That would suck.
He's quite practiced.
He's a really powerful necromancer. He's stronger than me, at least.
Yeah.
So you agree, which, depending who's with you, like, they're not cool with that, but whatever, you're the main character, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And so you save him, he starts helping with the whole, the whole quest line, and then you gotta go rescue the Swordmaster dude, Sai Sahan, who's imprisoned by Mannimacro, big surprise.
Yeah.
Help him, get him, save him from his bullshit. It's like a Dark Link situation where pretty much every time you slay their doubts or whatever that have manifested as a demon.
Right. The gameplay
just...
loop is that you learn about the characters, and then you learn about what makes them special fighters, and then you have to fight them, but you can't really fight them because then they'd be dead and they wouldn't help anybody. So that you have to fight a manifestation of their doubt or whatever to symbolically show that they're both your friends, and also you got to see what work we did making those combo moves. Wasn't that cool?
Right, it's fun.
And, you go get them, and then Tharn starts basically dropping some nuggets, some information, saying like, oh, Mannimacro is actually going to betray Molag Bal.
Yeah.
His big plan is why he wanted the Amulet of Kings. He's going to soul trap Molag Bal in the Amulet of Kings and then absorb his power and become the new Daedric Prince of Domination.
Oh, that's a pretty impressive move.
Pretty good move.
That's a pretty good move. However, it also doesn't sound a lot like everyone else, because even if that works, he betrays him and becomes the new Prince of Domination. There are still chains pulling reality to hell, and I imagine once he's on the side of the chains, he's not going to be like, well, just unhook all those, it'll be fine.
No, that's part of the plan.
He'll be like, carry on.
He's like, and he's already taken over the mortal realm, like, win-win for me.
Yeah.
And pretty much as he tells you that, you're rescuing him from Mannimacro's castle, and then Mannimacro just knows that's happening, and it's just like, now, don't go telling my secrets, and sends like a shade of himself to fight you guys, and you beat his ass, and you just run away. you made it. Good job.
Puff it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't let you kill him. He shows up in games later in the timeline.
This happens like 5 times, like where you're going to do a thing, and then Mannimacro's just like, you can't stop me, and then sends like undead or like a shadow of himself to fight you, and then you just repeat this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, so you get everyone pretty much back together. Big reveal. Oh, this prophet guy who knows all about the Elder Scrolls, who's gone blind. He was a moth priest for a little while. Turns out that's Varen Aquilarelos, or however the fuck you say his name, the would-be emperor. Surprise. So then you got to do some other stuff, and pretty much you go beat up Mannimacro is one of the end points of this. You fight your way through Sancretor, one of the runes that are in like Cyrodiil, and it's like what I just said. Like he shows up and he's just like, you can't stop me, and then you stop him, and then you go to another part of the thing, you can't stop me, and then you stop him, and then you do that until
a very He-Man style of gameplay.
Big skeletal energy.
You get to him, beat him up, and then Molag Bal is like, I see what you're doing there, Mannimacro, and then scoops his ass up.
Got his ass.
Right.
But you get the
like Skeletor's boss when he fucks up too bad.
Yes. And so from there, Mannimacro is no longer a problem. He's no longer a threat. But these giant-ass chains are still ripping reality into hell.
Yeah.
You got to stop that.
Right.
So you gather up everybody. You convince all 3 factions, like, hey, stop being dicks to each other. We got to work together, or else Satan's going to rip us into hell.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I guess we'll work together. And then, yeah, you get everyone to cooperate, and then you invade hell.
Classic.
Pretty metal.
It's pretty sick.
Pretty metal.
Pretty Doomslayer. And you get there, and then there's this whole city, the name of which... Did I write it down? Hollow City, which is an Ayleid city. So the Ayleids were a branch of... basically high elves, but different and evil.
Hell elves.
Kinda. They're the assholes. They're the dark elves, air quotes. And this city was being like attacked by Molag Bal, and then they petitioned one of their favorite Daedra that they worship was Meridia, who's the Daedric Prince of Light.
Oh.
So her and Molag Bal hate each other because one of his things is undead, and she hates undead.
Right.
And so they petitioned her for help, and she's like, okay, there's going to be some consequences, though. They're like, whatever, do it. She scoops up that whole city and then just yeets it into Cold Harbor.
That doesn't sound like it helps keep them away from Molag Bal.
You know?
Yeah,
it sounds like it's delivering them to him.
Yeah, what's the logic on that one?
I don't know, man. I didn't write the game. There's some kind of justification for it. Like, she like puts like a light barrier up or some shit. I don't know. But that's like, then the next big thing is you got to go and collect all of Meridia's light. And these Ayleids are helping you. Like, the last, like, Ayleid king is there and fighting and leading the forces. And he just kind of takes over. Like, the guilds are, like, not really cooperating. And he's just like, I'm in charge now. And they're like, who the fuck are you? And he's just like, I'm the guy in charge. And they're like, oh shit.
No shit.
I guess he's in charge.
Oh, damn.
And yeah, and he coordinates all your forces, and that's middle. You unify everybody. You go do some fetch quests. Turns out this character who's been guiding you, she's the mysterious like lady in Hollow City. Oh my God, it's Meridia. Who could have seen this happen?
What?
Yeah. And so you then go fight the forces of Molag Bal and destroy all the anchors. There's like a super big anchor. You got to go break that one.
Right.
You free the head of the Mages Guild. He's actually the founder of the Mages Guild, who was being fucked up. You go and rescue him, and he helps you destroy that. And then you Doomslayer your way through fucking Molag Bal's domain, and you're just breaking shit until and Meridia is there, so you don't get one shot basically by a god.
Right.
So you have a god on your side.
This is him and his domain. Yes. You're certainly not going to sword fight him.
And then that's like you fight your way up until the point of like, well, now I'm gonna beat Molag Bal's ass. And, Meridia does like a thing. It's something to do with it's like she infuses you, and then like you use the Amulet of Kings or something to that effect, and you just get God mode real quick, and then you just like cut his ass in half. Basically.
Oh yeah.
You just fry Molag Bal, and he's like, I am defeated.
Oh no, this is the end of the game!
Yeah, that's like the main storyline, is you then end up in Meridia's domain, which is like something, the Land of Light or whatever the fuck.
Right.
It's pretty colors. And then she tells you, oh, you did it, yay. Like, okay, now that also fixed the whole there's no emperor problem, so don't worry about that. You'll get one eventually.
It did? How?
Yeah, it's good for a while. And then the Amulet of Kings is also good. You go back to reality now, kid. And yeah, you do. And then I don't know anything about any of the DLCs or anything like that.
After that, I imagine you have to like kill a certain kind of goblin for a while, and
then after I mean, this is earlier in the timeline than orcs had rights, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably a lot of goblin hunts.
Which that's I don't know. I didn't look that up. I don't know if you can play as an orc. I would imagine you can, because that's just been a thing for so long. But
right.
It wouldn't make any sense technically. From a
lore perspective, yeah.
If it's the first game, yeah. I think they're part of the Daggerfall Covenant. I think one
that would
group,
make sense.
Ebonheart Pact is Nord, Dunmer, Argonian. The Summer whatever Almeri Dominion one is High Elf, Wood Elf, and I think Khajiit. And then the other one is it's Redguard, Orc, and Breton. I think those are the ones. I don't actually know this. If I'm wrong, slap me in the comments.
I would have really, really thought that they would have been the Furry Scaly Alliance.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's me though. I just don't believe in that kind of division.
So, Argonians are like outliers, even more so than Khajiit, because here's a little lore for you.
Hit me with it.
Khajiit are technically kind of elves.
Who isn't a kind of elf at this point?
So
yeah, deadass.
Even the dwarves are a kind of elf, and every other piece of media ever has told me that they hate each other.
So the Khajiit, in their creation myth, it said that Azura, Daedric Prince of the Dawn and the Dusk, scooped up some Bosmer or Wood Elves and just turned them into cats, basically.
We've slowly been turning back into people ever since.
No, there's 15 different varieties of Khajiit, which is determined by the phases of the moons, Massa and Secunda.
Yeah, each time when you're born, depending on the moon.
They're all Khajiit. They're all like the same species. Morphically, they're different.
Yeah. I felt a flare of outrage in my chest because what do you mean we don't have stars? We have holes in reality. But the moon is both real and of like a certain mass that its gravitation like affects this that part of physics counts.
There's 3 moons.
We're keeping them. Those moons are all real and they have mass and gravity.
So
the stars, however, not at all.
So the 2 is claimed to be the corpse of Lorcan, the betrayer god. If that's true, who knows? Whatever. Different myths say different things.
Right.
And then the third secret moon is the necromancer's moon. What's
Is it
that? That's Mannimacro, baby.
God damn.
After he ascended, he became a god, which is that put him as a celestial body in space, and so he's the secret third moon.
That's hilarious.
I really love that Mannimacro. I don't know how his name is spelled, but in my head, it's just the two first names, Manny and Marco.
Basically, just swap out Y with I and just put them together.
It's not good enough. That's not a good enough change for me to not just see him as like...
He's like a Pauly D style character,
Yeah.
like Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
You
Jersey
get it.
Shore, yeah.
So,
His
Now-
wizard robe has the sleeves cut off.
I guess
Yeah.
now we're in like free ball territory where I'll just say stuff.
Let's get into the fucking
so-
specific...
Mannimacro is a funny character because you encounter him in Oblivion.
Right.
That's the end point of the Mages Guild questline is you confront Mannimacro, the King of Worms.
Yeah.
But wait, he became a god. How is he here? How is he
Right.
a dude?
He shouldn't be kicking around down here.
Which this gets into dragon bricks and all that kind of shit.
Right.
So there's a couple scenarios in which could explain this. One, that's not Mannimacro.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
somebody claiming to be Mannimacro, but he does have many of the artifacts that Mannimacro is associated with.
Right.
So at the very least, he's doing a really good impersonation. Number two,
Mantling.
yeah, maybe. So the one most people seem to subscribe to is that Mannimacro the god and Mannimacro the man are now two distinct entities.
Oh man, how bad would it suck if you're like, now I will ascend to godhood! And then like, you're hit by lightning and you see a flash in the air and it's your face in the sky, and a new moon forms in the sky, and it's like, and you see a version of you, like a screen in space, like, I've done it, I've ascended, and it leaves, and you're like, wait, no! I'm still down here!
So that's one idea that a lot of people subscribe to, just because of the fucky nature of Dragon Breaks.
Right.
So like, because he technically ascended and didn't.
Right.
So both happened.
Because it really specifically happened during what would be like considered like a paradox.
Mm-hmm. So that's
He both must and must not be a god.
so yeah. So regardless of what happens to the mortal Mannimacro, if that is in fact who that guy is,
Right.
the Necromancer's Moon is still there, which is really cool because you can. It's a mechanic in Oblivion where on a certain night the light of the Necromancer's Moon shines down on this one area which has like a coffin, and you put grand soul gems in there and cast soul trap, and it turns them into black soul gems, which you can soul trap people like humans and stuff in there with a black soul gem. Normally you can't.
Right.
It's very fun, very little neat little thing. It's like a pillar of like violet light. It's really cool.
Oh man, that's sick. It's super metal.
But so one thing I really wanted to get into talking to you guys about is my personal favorite character
Right.
in all of Elder Scrolls is Pelinal Whitestrake.
Pelinal?
Yes,
Pelinal Whitestrake.
Whitestrake.
Streak?
Strake.
Strake.
So, which his name is a bastardization of an Elvish phrase, Pelinal,
Pelinal?
which means the Star Made Knight with a K,
Oh.
and that's like one of his titles.
Right.
He's the Star Made Knight
Okay.
because,
A knight from the stars, you say?
well, he at the very least is divine, but a popular idea, one that I don't personally subscribe to, is that he's a Terminator cyborg from the future.
What data could support that?
The way he's described in many of the past, there's the in-game books, the Song of Pelinal, and it's fragmentary and purposefully is missing sections, which I didn't really get into it, but a key thing in a lot of Elder Scrolls lore is very similar to 40k in that they really lean into a lot of the time the unreliable narrator.
Right.
So even if you're reading book in game, you don't know if like this is actually true or not.
Right. This could be some like crackpot's version of events.
Because that's not even including all the metaphysical nonsense with like dragon breaks and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they really lean into it. Like in Morrowind, you can find 2 versions of the same book, and they're different. They have different texts, but they have the same exact title.
Oh man.
Huh.
And yeah, so it's like they really play into that. It's
do people know about dragon breaks? Like, does everyone know? Like, oh, that'll happen.
Yeah, no, a group specifically caused one.
That leads me to believe that there's definitely like, like kids are mean sometimes. There's definitely like a bullying where it's like, ha ha ha, his parents are from the timeline where the emperor died. Ha 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 ha.
So that's I'll get into that, but there's this group called the Morakati Selective who caused a dragon break specifically because they're like, fuck elves.
Damn.
What other reasons do you need?
So
God bless.
They pretty much worshipped the Queen Alicia, who founded the empire, but they hated that the pantheon she created, Akatosh, still had elven elements, and so they caused the dragon break to try to purge a god of his elven roots because fuck those elves. And
Did it work?
No, but it caused a dragon break for like 1,000 years.
Oh man!
And they're led by Maruk, the prophet Maruk, who's I don't remember the name of the species, but there's an intelligent gorilla species in Valenwood.
Sick.
And yeah, and typically they actually like elves. They try to emulate Altmer, specifically high elves, to the point where they shave themselves and wear like capes and shit and give themselves titles like Lord whatever. And then they talk shit about humans.
Just a bunch of Joe Rogans walking around.
Yeah, so they perfume the edges of their capes, and when humans...
That was mean. That was unnecessary.
Man.
When humans come around, they hold it up to their nose because they're just like, oh, a stinky human, And then, if anything, though, the elves think it's funny. They're like, that's cute. Look at
would absolutely
look at these dumb apes.
Oh my god.
Maruk was weird because he was the exact opposite. Fuck elves. Queen Alicia all the way, and then he headed up this
guy was more of a Gorilla Grodd type figure.
Yeah. And then they caused that dragon break. Anyway, smash cut back to that's just a little side thing. They don't really come up. They don't come up. These intelligent apes.
I feel like they would have come up in your explanation of all of the games if they came up a lot previously.
Yeah, they're not really important. Maruk is the most important one actually because of that whole dragon break business. Also, his cult that the Elysian Order is what they're called. They're like the only, not the only one, but they're like a monotheistic like religion, which is really weird. They know there are more gods. There's only like 2 of those.
Yeah. Everyone knows. Anyway, you can call them.
Back to my boy Pelinal. So, this ties into... So the Ayleids are pretty much high elves, but not high elves. Right. They founded their own empire. It was a whole thing. Cyrodiil was their empire. So the White Gold Tower, the big old palace in Oblivion, they made that.
Oh, wow.
Humans didn't make that. And they were really good at basically everything. They were like second to maybe the Dwemer in like magic. And their whole thing was starlight.
Right, so because it's holes in reality.
They thought the purest form of magic was crystallized starlight, which was what they perfected, which is you can find those in Ayleid ruins, the Welkind and Valkis stones, I think they're called. And that's what those are, pretty much, is those are solidified starlight.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense for that to be the purest form of magic. That's the holes in reality that are stars.
It's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
The point that gets me, though, that I find confusing is, like, why wouldn't it be sunlight?
Is the sun also a hole in reality? Oh, well, then that is quite a hole.
It's just the other holes, but right in front of, like, right there.
Right, it's just the nearest hole.
So, while starlight, I think conceptually is a very cool idea, like, that, there's a disconnect there, where, like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
But, whatever, it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
It needs to be further away light, so that we can really distill it down to its base juices.
So part of the Ayleid Empire is that they're assholes.
Classic elves.
They believe themselves to be superior, and in many cases they were correct. They're just better.
You said elves. We already know it.
And so they enslaved lots of everyone else, pretty much. And then they had a massive empire. And so that's when a slave girl, who would become Alicia, the slave queen, petitioned the gods for help. And they were like, bet.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so...
We were surprised no one called sooner. It looked pretty fucked up down there.
So Kine, who is pretty much the head of the Nord pantheon, sent her divine son Morahouse, the winged man bull.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
And Pelinal.
Oh, really?
The Star-Made Knight.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And yeah, then they have like a... Pelinal and Morahouse have like a familial bond. Pelinal calls him nephew, and Morahouse calls him uncle.
Oh.
And so they're related somehow. Now, so Morahouse is a little... He's just called the Winged Man Bull. So...
Does he have a dad?
Who can say?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But, so if you want to think of him as like a Minotaur type guy, or a literal bull with wings, you do you. I like the Minotaur route, because he ends up marrying Alessia, which just makes it a little bit
savorier.
Yeah, easier to
less monster
to
fuckery.
accept that. Yeah, like so do with that what you will. But Pelinal shows up and immediately is killing elves. That is his one job in life to murder elves. And then Morahouse,
God bless
his boy, his
favorite
nephew,
pastime.
Yeah, he's right there with him, and they just
blasting Sabaton. And
they just fucking
just killing elves.
Elves by the hundreds. It's insane. And there's some of my favorite like little tidbits are like, so when he first showed up to the slaves, to Alicia, he was already like crusted over with dried blood.
Jesus.
And his sword and mace were just covered in like viscera and
God bless,
and like strands of hair and shit from all the skulls he smashed in. And he's just like
metal.
He's like, check it out. He's like, see this? These were a bunch of Ayleid kings. They're not anymore.
God bless.
Yeah, so he's just... Pelinal's down to fuck all day, all night. Like, he's ready to go at all times.
Goodness.
God bless.
He's a man with a goddamn mission.
Yeah, and...
that mission killing elves.
So he was also described as... So, the whole cyborg thing. One, he's called the Whitestrake because in his left hand, he had a killing light. Laser gun.
Oh, man.
Maybe.
Or
really,
any kind of wizard.
I chalk it up to magic. He's
right.
he's a fucking demigod. Like,
yeah,
he zaps stuff. Of course he does.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is his armor was described as futuristic. Specifically, I think it said of the future times, and like he wouldn't talk about it. But it's like Crusader armor, you know.
I mean, yeah.
And this is like thousands of years before the events of like the main series.
Yeah.
So of course that's advanced, air quotes.
Yeah, the most advanced armor that they had was a bag of fucking weeds.
Yeah, if you're wearing like leather or bronze or something, the guy in goddamn full plate, of course that's like super advanced to you, you know?
Yeah, relatively.
But because of that wording, people like to think he's a cyborg.
A spaceman. He's a phantom spaceman.
He's a RoboCop.
Also, he does have future knowledge, which my favorite quote about him is so it's so bananas. Okay, so what is this? Let's see here. So I'm going to read this off. This is directly from the Song of Pelinal in the games. So a thing he did. So the Ayleid kingdom, real quick, was kind of like Greek city-states. Like they were all Ayleids, but they had independent kingdoms.
Yeah,
ruled by like a king. And so one of his things was he would go around and he just would fucking kill them.
Yeah.
So, and this is my favorite one. Pelinal called out Haromir of Copper and Tea into a duel at the Tor, and ate his neck veins while screaming praise to Riemann, a name that no one knew yet.
God bless.
Everyone else is just like, I don't know who. Find Riemann. Find him and praise him.
So, yes, just the phrase "ate his neck veins" is so metal.
That's
like,
so
biting at his
fucking
carotid.
metal.
and then
Jesus,
screaming a name of a guy who's not going to be born yet for centuries.
Jesus,
Hilarious. I
Lord
love it.
have mercy. He's going ham on these elves.
And so
I guess they had it coming, but damn.
his whole well. So if you feel bad for the Ayleids, don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of their things they like to do.
They
was-
enslaved everybody else.
Yeah.
To begin with.
They were also really good at like flesh magic.
That's
Oh,
not good.
Nope.
Yeah,
it
it's one of
never
the
is.
no-nos.
And so there are places called like the Gut Gardens, and then it was also noted.
Oh, I don't like the gut gardens.
There was also another quote, which is crazy, which take it with a grain of salt because this is from imperial sources, unreliable narrator. You don't know how much of this is true, but at the very least, the Ayleids were not cool.
Yeah.
And then it said that they would set children on fire for nighttime tiger sport.
Oh man.
So just for funsies, they would set slave children on fire.
Tiger sport.
I don't know what that means. That's just how it was written.
Is-
God bless.
It keeps
So
the tigers active, I suppose.
They were not cool. And then, so Pelinal would also go into fits of madness, where
You don't say.
he would just start murdering anybody,
Oh no.
and they would have to. It was said that Alicia would have to petition the gods to calm him down
Right.
because he was just destroying like entire swaths of land.
I mean, he's like uncle to a demigod, which would put him in the same like generation as the parents. Ergo, like he's some kind of god.
It's largely accepted that he is a Shezarine, which is an incarnation of Lorcan. Shazar being the
other
Cyrodiilic version of Lorcan.
These guys have like 10.
Even though
different
he
names.
denied it,
Right.
but
Well, he can't really be
evidence would
trusted.
suggest that he was.
He can't be particularly trusted. What with going into fits of madness, killing everyone.
Yeah, only now and then. But a really funny bit is that he accidentally murdered a bunch of Khajiit because one of their varieties is they look almost like a high elf. Like they have pointed ears, like basically no fur, so they look like an elf.
Right.
And he just killed a whole bunch of them
God.
before he realized, like, oh, you're my bad.
Someone's like, "Oh my god, he's in
Jeez.
another rampage."
I don't know if I like this Pelinal guy too much. He sounds like a problem. Like
He's in another
Only if you're an elf.
episode, and then he's like, "I'm not in an episode right now. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm killing elves." And we're like, "No, those are Khajiit." And he's just like slowly stabbing one. Like, well, what's a Khajiit? Well, like they stopped being elves a while ago. Now they're cats. And he's like looking at like what is essentially an elf, and he's like, "No, these are pretty much elves. It depends on the mood. There's so much lore, man."
So yeah, and then his story wraps up with there's a little bit where it's implied he might have been gay. He raised a like slave kid into a hoplite, Huna, and it's maybe or maybe not, whatever. It's how you interpret it, but it said he loved him well, and then Huna died, was killed by in one of the battles. And it's a very, it's almost a 1-for-1 for like the
Achilles and
yes,
yeah.
Because then after when he sees
Patroclus was his name, I think.
Patroclus.
I forget, yeah. Which if you don't know, that's how that myth originally is. Achilles went on a rampage because they killed his boyfriend, not his like nephew or whatever the fuck Troy the movie said.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Pelinal does. Huna died. And he went to a rage and just started murdering the fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And then his story wraps up
That's what happened with Alexander the Great too.
So he made a habit of going around eating neck veins and challenging Ayleid kings. Yeah. Until one Ayleid king challenged him. That's Umaril the Unfeathered. Umaril.
Were the rest of them feathered?
They have a bird like motif. Ayleids do.
Ah, okay.
Supposedly there was like a bird race that used to live in Cyrodiil. Now they're happen to be gone, and Ayleids love wearing feathers.
They happen to be gone, and we happen to have a lot of pelts.
So their whole that's one of their their fashion choices. Is
The Dodo Mer stood no chance to their lasers.
The Dodo Mer.
yeah. And so Umaril, he's also a demigod. He claims to be the son of a river god from a former Kalpa. Kalpa being a cycle of the universe.
My god goes to another school.
So,
you wouldn't know him.
What
God
the fuck
bless.
does that mean? I don't know. I didn't write that shit, okay? But he's a demigod. He's demonstrably, like, divine.
He's at least super powerful.
Yeah, he's a big-ass, like,
whether or not he's
golden
from a
dude.
different timeline or a previous universe.
And he has wings with no feathers.
Gross.
Which is why the unfeathered title. And he's favored of Meridia. Meridia being, like, the Ayleid's pretty much number one Daedric prince.
Right.
She has blessed him. Basically that, like, if he dies, his soul just, like, goes to her realm and he can be reborn. So he's functionally immortal. And he comes out and he starts talking a big game and challenges Pelinal. And then pretty much shenanigans happen. And then because Umaril's, like, a big deal and he beat up a bunch of the rebels, they, like, take a minute to let's regroup and, like, think about this. And Pelinal's just like, you're a bunch of pussies. I'm going myself, and he just solos, like, he goes there.
God bless.
And calls Umaril's ass out. It's just like, fight me, bitch. Meanwhile, there's, like, the last remaining Ayleid kings are also there, and he pretty much just, like, smacks the ground real quick, and they're like, oh shit, okay. and Umaril just sends waves of dudes at him until he's, like, worn out. And then shows up because he's an asshole elf,
right?
You know.
I mean, also, I wouldn't fight this guy fair. He's been biting out necks and shit.
Yeah, no,
that's scary
ass.
as shit. I can't even fly. My wings don't have feathers.
And
he might be from the future.
So it said, hey, Umaril got him pretty good, but Pelinal killed him, and what more, he ripped his fucking wings off. So Umaril now, like, you fight him in Oblivion and stuff, but, like, he doesn't have wings anymore. It's because Pelinal just lasered that shit off.
Hell yeah, get fucked.
So he gets his ass, and then he makes fun of them. Basically, he just talks mad shit.
Hell yeah.
And then the other Ayleid kings there are so enraged, they basically dogpile his ass, and then cut him into 8 pieces.
And that gets his ass?
Which... eventually,
oh man,
because they leave him like that, and it's a mockery because of like the 8 divines,
right?
It's symbolic. Then Morehouse, who was wounded and now shows up. That's why he wasn't there to help. Talks with his head for a while.
Okay,
so he didn't die, like, outright.
Right.
Which is just chilling.
Yeah, just in pieces.
So on one hand, a god being chopped into pieces, surviving, and, like, his pieces still wiggling around and stuff, killing guys if you get too close. That makes sense. Like, you could see a Zeus doing that. But in equal measure, that is a scene from, like, RoboCop.
Which is another, reason people say, oh, Cyborg from the future.
Yeah.
But he's just a god, dude. Like, they can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
When they put him into 8 pieces, what were the 8 pieces?
Oh, I don't know. Like, they just chopped him up.
Well, let's see. One is head, definitely, because he got
and I'm assuming that arms and legs.
Yeah, arms and legs.
That's
a quarter.
The 5. So they
split
the torso into 3? If they split the torso into 3, we'd have 8 pieces.
Dick, abs, and pecs.
Yeah, him and Morehouse have a conversation. It's not known what they talked about.
The divine ass of Pelinal Whitestrake.
Pelinal died until he didn't. So then they found the Empire, Alicia does. And that's where she marries Morehouse. They give birth to Minotaurs, who were the first emperors. And so
pretty easy to see who's related to the old king and who's not.
It used to be like an honorable thing to be a bull man until people got real racist about it, and then now it's not good to be a bull guy.
I mean, frankly, the immediate generation who sees God was a bull man, they're probably like, okay,
pretty stoked.
once he's like not in the picture anymore, you start to realize these guys are fucking cows.
Yeah, they're big and cumbersome and loud,
and they're in the way, and they can't put on the crown right. They have horns.
They got horns.
Yeah, but they can wear the amulet, you know. But anyway, you know,
and you know what? Putting that amulet on
him,
him, I'm sure is a major pain in the ass. You try to reach over him, you're gonna poke a damn eye out.
So
there's a lot of anti-Minotaur rhetoric in this podcast.
I see how the public turned on them.
Yeah, so that's a whole thing. Alicia allegedly forms a covenant with Akatosh, the time dragon god. There's several theories about that maybe it wasn't Akatosh. Whatever. I'm not going to speculate, but he gave her the gem, and then that made the Amulet of Kings.
Right.
Congratulations, you've now founded an empire. Then, smash cut to that guy that Pelinal was screaming about when he was eating neck veins.
Yeah.
Riemann Cyrodiil.
He finally gets born.
So, hold that thought.
Oh.
According to legend, King Hrall tracked down the spirit of Saint Alicia, the same who founded the empire.
Yeah.
And who wore the Amulet of Kings around her neck.
It makes more sense she wore it. Bullman neck probably too thick.
Mm-hmm. They coupled, and a hill named Sancrator rose on the spot. So,
run that by me one more time.
So wait,
they coupled.
He fucked a ghost?
No, he fucked the earth.
Oh, he just stuck his dick right in the sand.
Yep. King Hrall,
right in the dirtacy,
was compelled by the spirit of Saint Alicia to mate with the land, which was representative of her, I guess. And then he nutted so hard he died.
Oh, man.
And then on that spot, supposedly, a hill formed. And then 9 months later to the day, Riemann Cyrodiil popped out with the Amulet of Kings upon his forehead and could talk as a baby.
I'm going to run something that is just me
fuck?
being a fucking pedantic hater. Babies actually gestate for 10 months.
Oh, babies born from the earth? Please.
I'm just saying... If we're to give credence to that this was a pregnancy, and not, if I'm being honest, it sounds a lot like a coincidence from a guy who fucked a hole and got his dick bitten by a snake or something.
Look, this is a magical earth fuck baby, okay? Like, you can't be comparing him to regular ass babies, all right?
He matures that much faster because he's that much better.
And he becomes like the new emperor basically, and founds like I think it's the second empire is him. I forget. But as a result of him being emperor, I can segue into there's this place called Akavir, right? Mm-hmm. So Tamriel is a continent.
Right.
There's other continents.
Right.
Yakuta's gone. That got blowed up.
Right.
Maybe. Who knows? Sank to the sea.
At the very least, we don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah. And then Akavir is mentioned the most out of the others.
Is this where the snake men come from?
Mm-hmm. So there's an in-game text called Mysterious Akavir, and it's very speculative. We don't really know what goes on over there.
The dark continent.
They've tried to go there a few times, and it never goes well.
Yeah.
One emperor in history tried to invade, and he kind of succeeded. He got a foothold, but then no one knows what happened after that.
So succeeded might not be the word for it.
Yeah. But the most important thing about Akavir is this is where the Saesi, or however you want to pronounce that, I don't fucking know them. That's how I say it.
How do you spell it?
It's pretty fucky. It's very snaky.
Oh man,
there's a lot of
the snake men.
Yeah. But the Saesi are called the vampiric snake men of Akavir. It said that they ate all the dragons that were in Akavir. Is that literal? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. There's no dragons in Akavir anymore, apparently.
So I was working under the thought of Akavir probably related to Akatosh. Probably nope. They're snake men because they're part dragon. Nope, not at all. We
ate those guys.
Ate them.
And
metaphorically, perhaps, literally, almost certainly, because it would make sense. The dragons are immortal if you don't eat their soul, so I imagine they eat them, and then Necromancer Dragon Guy summons them back from Dragon Hell, I guess, or wherever their souls go, and then they're just back, huh?
Who knows? But as Tamriel has tried to invade Akavir, Akavir has invaded Tamriel several times as well. And it's basically the Sayesi every time.
Yeah.
Being dicks. This is where you get the, like, if you ever wondered why are there fucking katanas in, medieval fantasy land, it's because the Sayesi, that's their thing. They have like an East Asian like aesthetic. And so katanas and stuff came from them. So they showed up, and then it was during the time of Riemann Cyrodiil, they showed up, and they said they were looking for a dragonborn, and then they saw Riemann Cyrodiil, and then they swore fealty to him on the spot. You're the dopest dude. We're here for it. And then they founded the Blades.
We came here to find that baby that got fucked right out of the ground.
Yep. And
they just knew.
So then Sayesi,
gentlemen, point your katanas in respect.
They're just around after that for a while, and they even establish eventually this thing called the Akaviri Potentate, which is they controlled the government for a while.
Oh.
And so Snake Men were just in charge for a few centuries.
Political outsiders.
And now, so they're called Snake Men. It's not known because of unreliable narrator.
Right.
They're described in multiple different ways throughout different sources. So some of them describe them as actual, like, half man, half snake.
Right. Like,
others,
sort of like Yuan Ti used to be.
Yeah, and others are like, no, they're just guys. It's kind of snaky.
They're guys, and we used to be real racist. That's...
Yeah. So they're the most important thing to come out of Akavir. And then there's, like, a couple other things that are pretty interesting there. Like, there's a bunch of different races. There's, like, monkey guys. There's a different race of cat people who are tigers.
The Tiger Men.
Who supposedly their king, they wanted to become dragons, and their king just did it. And so apparently he turned into a dragon, except he's got tiger coloring.
Oh,
so
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's like orange and black striped and everything on his scales.
Guys, I did it! You can do it if you try really hard! As he flies away.
If you try really hard, you too can Super Saiyan into a dragon.
How does that work?
Cool.
That would fuck up a society.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's like, I did it, I broke through.
Jeremy, you have to study your arithmetic. Fuck you, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan into a dragon.
Only the king has ever Super Saiyan into a dragon. Everyone wants to. You think that your dad didn't try? We used to have dreams, and he's like, you don't know, old man! I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna break through!
Oh, man.
And
I'm built different!
It's kind of it for Akavir. Then there's a couple other continents. There's Atmora, which is supposedly where the Nords came from, and the Giants as well. Which lore is really weird on that, where giants and men used to just be one thing, and so they're intelligent giants. So apparently the men of Atmora were just like supermen, I guess.
Oh, man.
And then eventually they somehow split. Not too clear on that, but...
That's some World of Warcraft style of...
Yeah. Important takeaway is that's where Nords and Giants come from, and then the last continent is... Pandania, which is the land of the merfolk, or merfolk, the sea elves, which what are their names?
Oh man,
Seamer.
Kind of the Maomer. There we go.
They did it! Hooray! I was gonna start talking shit if you didn't do it soon.
And
the Maidmer.
They're kind of just doing their own thing down there. They're real good at, sailing.
Mm-hmm. Who would
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Shocker. And they're ruled by an immortal god king.
Fun.
How does that work? Who knows?
Pretty stable, I bet.
Yeah. So that's it. The Mermer are just down there doing their own thing. Supposedly they were exiled from old Aldmaris, which is
clearly just Atlantis.
Yeah, the mythical birthplace of the entire elven race. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. But what's their actual deal? Who knows? They got a god king, apparently, though. And it's giant sea serpents. That's one of their things. And then sea giants. Just horrible, like, fishmen.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that Akavir has the aesthetics of like, oh, we have like an entire different game franchise over here. We can't have too much crossover with Tamriel.
That's awesome.
That's-
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll get messy. There'll be like 20 races, and there's just too much.
So for a long time, fans have wanted there to be like more expansion on Akavir. Like, can we go there? And then pretty much
No.
it's been like, no, everything happens in Tamriel. That's the point.
Yeah.
They have like considered it though. So
Elder Scrolls 6,
well, supposedly Skyrim, that was one of the original plot pitches, was that an invasion from Akavir. Oh no, stop that.
That'd be fun.
It would be cool, but it's like, again, the point is everything important happens on Tamriel.
It'd be pretty funny for them to have like, okay, like one of the Tiger Men is here, and like he's just blown away by like the Tamriel history of the world. What do you mean the gods were here? Like right here, Mannimacro, like that he's like the necromancer god. He's why the moon's on the sky, and he's like, well, we call him like some they call him Poly D or some shit.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, yeah, well, he was here. In fact, he's kind of still here. If you want to go look for him, what do you? They can't be here. They're no, he's right over there. This is Manny.
He's hanging out.
He's a dick. Don't make any deals with him. He always betrays you. But there he is. We met like a bunch of these gods. The dragon that could go back in time and causes all the time deals. He was here for a minute, and then he went back in time, so he was here then too. Yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of gods, and he's just over here remembering all of the mythology and like religion that he's learned about how all of it's like very like it's understood to be metaphor because the gods didn't walk here. They didn't. They walked over there.
Tamriel. But yeah, so that's kind of the things I just wanted to get out there. Anything specific you two are curious about?
So, what is dragon shouting?
Dragons be shouting.
It's their language.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys feel like you just explained it perfectly.
So it's literally like dragon the shouts, the words you learn.
Right.
It's literally the dragon language.
And it just like immediately like a true word type thing.
Yeah, it's
where,
true word magic.
If you know how to use it,
Oh,
yes. Or if
okay.
you're dragonborn, it just works.
Right.
But that is like one of the things.
Just a quick reminder to the audience: I haven't played any of these games. Please don't believe me.
So that's like
bully him, bully him.
that's one of the like little cute like descriptions they have is that a battle between two dragons is like a heated debate
Oh,
because they're literally just yelling words at each other.
so I was under the impression, which is wrong, by the way, that Dragon Shout was like a name that we gave to like guys who can do like dragon breath stuff, and it was like, oh, it's like us like figuring out how to replicate it, not actually how it worked.
No, yeah.
I thought dragons were just like half god beings in Tamriel, so obviously if they wanted to blast you with a wave of force, they can just do that. They don't need to like do the spell for it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's its own thing. It is magic, but it's like a separate form of magic.
You want to go over Argonians and how weird they are?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have a vague memory of them regarding
So, okay, Argonians
evil trees.
are the weirdest. You don't know that they're evil. Nobody knows. But
They don't sound nice.
so Argonians are most likely the result of the sentient trees called the Hist, who it is described they are probably from a previous Kelpic cycle. So they slipped through the cracks of the universe blown up and just made their way into Tamriel.
The black mold of the universe, where it just you thought you killed it, but no.
And yeah, they work on a hive mind type situation with one another. And it's described as they saw Men and Myr and how they could like move and shit. And
Yeah.
it's just like it'd be real neat if we had some to people that could do that for us.
Yeah.
And so there was apparently a big species of lizard that lived in Black Marsh, and then they, using their sap, the hiss sap, changed them into Argonians.
So they suckle upon the trees' sappy goodness, and they get smarter and stronger.
That's a huge part of Argonian culture. Is like,
did it mutate them
Yes.
like permanently, or is this like a thing where like you have to make your baby eat the sap, or else it just is?
You have to make your baby eat the sap.
Yeah.
So Argonian tits, they're lizards. Their tits don't have milk; they have hiss sap.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most interesting lore bits I've ever heard of, because like literally a guy being like, "Well, a lizard wouldn't have verbs."
I don't think that's like official.
Oh, okay.
But
I heard that one time.
One of the writers said that during a panel.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Because somebody asked him, it's like, why do Argonians have breasts? That doesn't make any sense. And
Close enough to canon.
And he's hiss sat, and they're like, which that adds up.
Sure, yeah,
makes sense. And so they're connected to the Hist in that way. Argonians, the Hist sap is a huge part of their life cycle, and they can also just pretty much at any point go get some more Hist sap and change. So they're functionally,
they can just go into character customizer.
Kinda, yeah. Mostly in regards to sex, so they can just swap if they want. Like, sex is like a
base.
Right, you have to go suck up enough sap to fill up your chest sacs, and then
if you feel like I've learned what I can being a guy.
Oh no!
I'm just gonna go be a gal now.
If I could steal someone's titties by just like sucking on their titties, I would have titties by now. Let me fucking tell you.
Oh my god! You know, like those scenes in movies and stuff where somebody wakes up and like their kidney's been stolen,
mm-hmm.
but they have like like the tap they put into maple trees, just stuck in their chest, and they're like, "Son of a bitch! He stole my gender!"
So that's why, like, Argonians are considered the weirdest. Is they're just out of all of the race. Even like you'd think like, oh, comparable to Khajiit. No. They're their own thing.
They're not even the same kind of thing as everyone.
They're on the tree Wi-Fi, which apparently that shit's real strong. During the Oblivion Crisis, the Hist apparently called all Argonians back to Black Marsh.
Right.
Like, so if you were connected to if you're not born in Black Marsh and you don't suck on the trees, you're not connected to the Wi-Fi. So there are Argonians who aren't connected to the tree Wi-Fi.
Oh.
But all the ones that were, they called them back to Black Marsh, and then the Hist just can influence them psychically somehow.
Right.
Or maybe it's chemical, who knows, magical, whatever.
Right. And
they incensed the Argonians so much that they drove the demons back into hell. So
That's so metal.
They beat the fucking demon invasion because they were just so bloodlusted that the demons couldn't hang.
Argonians are so fucking cool. Like,
that's so funny because in my head, like, the Hist are just the forest from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, when they're putting Master Shake and Carl on trial.
Yeah.
And I imagine like a Hellgate opens up and like, a demon guy comes out and is like, "Oh, I thought there were like a bunch of people here. It's just a bunch of trees." And then the trees just like all lock eyes on it and they're like, "All Argonians return home. There are hell portals." The Hell guys are walking around. They're like, it's a forest. I don't know if there's conscious beings, or I thought there were. The Hell scanner said there were conscious beings around here. And then 100 killer crocs crest the horizon.
Yeah, screeching at the top of their lungs.
Yeah. The trees just turned on the "get his ass" button and did that to an entire species.
Pretty good move.
It's an exceptional move, apparently.
And Argonians are the only race that cannot interbreed with the other races.
Right, they're not even from the same kind of thing.
Yeah, because even like Khajiit, you have that like common ancestry thing.
Right, yeah, they're still
and
elves.
Then, like, even if you distinguish between man and Elfmer, they still come from that they were both the part of the original spirits or the Elnefe.
Right,
which were little gods, basically.
Yeah.
but they were just two different kinds of that, and then split off, and they just became
different philosophies.
things.
Yeah,
but whereas the Argonians are the crafted hands of evolution and intelligent design
of trees.
Trees,
which and kind of a cool thing about Elder Scrolls and how that whole like interspecies thing works is same as like it's almost Wakfu rules.
Okay.
Where typically they have the traits of the mother. Not always. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you just directly fuse. You like if a Nord and an Altmer hook up, whichever one was the female, like the tendency is that the child is going to be that.
Interesting.
But fusions do happen.
If it was strictly what the mother is, that's what we call Pokemon rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they can mix, but it's just unusual. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I think they've walked back on this, but that was the explanation for Bretons, is that they're elf-man hybrid. Which, I don't know.
The kingdom of mostly half-elves.
Yeah.
It's when, elves be enslaving people.
They do be doing.
They love it.
When they had
that's why we had to call Pell.
They had a serf class, and there was like the aristocratic elves, and then they would do that thing aristocrats tend to do.
Yeah.
And eventually, middle, you get Bretons.
We call it
the Durrani elves. They're kind of assholes.
Yeah.
As elves tend to be.
And the ESO at least.
They're not shit. They're not Ayleid levels, but they're still kind of dicks.
Right.
And with that, we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the nature of this content, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can go ahead and give me a follow on Blue Sky, and you can support us on our Patreon. And with that, have a lovely night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. Bye.